Viking weaponry, the hidden technology that scared empires. Ever wondered how a relatively small population of Norse warriors managed to strike fear into the hearts of vast empires? It wasn't just brute strength and a thirst for plunder. The Vikings possessed a hidden technological edge, a mastery of weaponry that gave them a decisive advantage on the battlefield. The Vikings, hailing from Scandinavia, were more than just raiders. They were skilled seafarers, explorers, and traders who left an indelible mark on history. Their longships, sleek and agile, allowed them to navigate rivers and oceans, bringing them to distant lands. Their reputation as fierce warriors preceded them. Tales of their ferocity and ruthlessness spread far and wide, instilling fear in coastal settlements and kingdoms. But their success wasn't solely based on aggression. While their physical prowess and battle-hardened nature certainly played a role, the Vikings' success was multifaceted. Their sophisticated understanding of shipbuilding, navigation, and, most importantly, weaponry gave them a significant edge. They were masters of adaptation and innovation. Their ability to combine these skills into a cohesive fighting force made them a formidable opponent. It was a combination of technology, tactics, and sheer determination that allowed them to dominate the seas and battlefields of their time. At the heart of Viking military dominance lay their sophisticated weaponry. These were not crude, mass-produced tools of war. They were carefully crafted instruments of destruction, designed for maximum effectiveness in close-quarters combat. From the legendary Viking sword to the versatile axe and the protective shield, each weapon was a testament to their technological prowess. Their understanding of metallurgy and weapon design was far more advanced than many of their contemporaries. The impact of Viking weaponry on the battlefields of Europe was profound. Their superior arms and armor allowed them to overcome larger, often better-equipped armies. They were a force to be reckoned with. Empires trembled at the sight of Viking longships appearing on the horizon. The combination of their fearsome reputation and their technologically advanced weaponry made them a truly terrifying force. Their raids reshaped the political landscape of Europe. The Viking sword was more than just a weapon. It was a symbol of power and status. Unlike the crude, mass-produced blades of some of their enemies, the Viking sword was a masterpiece of metallurgy. It was a testament to their skill and craftsmanship. Each sword was meticulously crafted, often taking weeks or even months to complete. The process involved a complex understanding of different types of steel and how they could be combined to create a superior blade. The superiority of the Viking sword stemmed from its construction. While other cultures relied on simpler forging techniques, the Vikings employed advanced methods to create blades that were both strong and flexible. This gave them a distinct advantage in combat. Their swords were not prone to shattering or bending easily, unlike many of their opponents' weapons. This reliability, combined with their sharpness, made them deadly in the hands of a skilled warrior. The craftsmanship involved in creating a Viking sword was truly remarkable. Each blade was carefully shaped, tempered, and polished to perfection. The hilts were often adorned with intricate carvings and precious metals, reflecting the owner's wealth and status. The level of detail and artistry that went into these weapons is a testament to the importance they held in Viking society. They were not just tools of war, they were objects of beauty and pride. One of the key techniques used in crafting Viking swords was pattern welding. This involved layering and twisting different types of steel together to create a blade with exceptional strength and flexibility. The process was complex and required a high level of skill. The resulting patterns were not only aesthetically pleasing, but also contributed to the blade's overall performance. This technique allowed them to create swords that could withstand the rigors of combat without breaking or bending. The combination of pattern welding and careful tempering resulted in a sword that was both incredibly strong and remarkably flexible. This allowed Viking warriors to parry blows, deliver powerful strikes, and maintain control of their weapon in the heat of battle. The ability of the Viking sword to withstand the stresses of combat was a major factor in their success on the battlefield. It gave them a distinct advantage over opponents wielding inferior weapons. Viking swords were not disposable items. They were valuable possessions that were often passed down through generations. This speaks to their durability and the care with which they were maintained. A well-maintained Viking sword could last for centuries, becoming a family heirloom and a symbol of their lineage. The stories and battles associated with these swords added to their significance. The Viking sword stands as a testament to their advanced understanding of metallurgy. Their ability to manipulate different types of steel and combine them in innovative ways allowed them to create weapons that were far superior to those of their contemporaries. Their knowledge of heat treatment, forging techniques, and material science was truly remarkable. It was this technological edge that helped them carve out their place in history. While the sword was the most iconic Viking weapon, they also employed a variety of other effective tools of war. These included axes, spears, and bows, each designed for a specific purpose on the battlefield. Their versatility in weaponry allowed them to adapt to different combat situations and exploit the weaknesses of their enemies. They were masters of combined arms tactics. The axe was a ubiquitous tool in Viking society, used for everything from felling trees to building ships. However, it was also a devastating weapon in the hands of a skilled warrior. Its versatility made it a popular choice among Viking raiders. Unlike the sword, which was often reserved for the elite, the axe was a more common weapon, accessible to a wider range of warriors. It was a practical and effective tool for both offense and defense. The Viking axe was typically designed for chopping and cleaving. Its heavy head and sharp blade could deliver devastating blows, capable of splitting shields and breaking bones. It was a brutal weapon, well suited for close-quarters combat. The design of the axe varied depending on its intended use. Some axes were designed for throwing, while others were designed for two-handed use, delivering even more powerful blows. The effect of a Viking axe blow was often catastrophic. The sheer force of the impact could inflict grievous wounds, incapacitating or killing opponents instantly. It was a weapon that inspired fear and respect. The axe was particularly effective against armored opponents, as its weight and sharpness could penetrate even the thickest defenses. It was a weapon that could quickly turn the tide of battle. The spear was a simple yet effective weapon that was widely used by Viking warriors. Its long reach allowed them to engage enemies from a distance, and its sharp point could deliver deadly thrusts. It was a versatile weapon that could be used in a variety of combat situations. The spear was often used in conjunction with shields, allowing warriors to form a formidable shield wall. This tactic was particularly effective against cavalry and other charging attacks. The primary function of the spear was to provide reach and throwing accuracy. Viking warriors could hurl spears at their enemies from a distance, disrupting their formations and inflicting casualties before engaging in close combat. The spear could also be used as a thrusting weapon, allowing warriors to deliver quick and deadly blows in close quarters. Its versatility made it a valuable asset on the battlefield. Bows and arrows were also used by Viking warriors, although less frequently than swords, axes, and spears. They were primarily used for ranged attacks and hunting. Their effectiveness in battle was limited by their relatively slow rate of fire and the difficulty of using them in close quarters. However, bows and arrows could be effective in certain situations, such as ambushes and sieges. They could also be used to harass enemy formations and disrupt their movements. While bows and arrows were part of the Viking arsenal, they were not as central to their combat doctrine as other weapons. Viking warfare typically emphasized close-quarters combat, where swords, axes, and spears were more effective. The use of bows and arrows was often relegated to skirmishers and scouts, who could use them to harass the enemy from a distance. They were not typically used in large-scale battles. In addition to their offensive weaponry, Viking warriors also relied on armor and shields for defense. These protective measures were essential for surviving the brutal realities of close-quarters combat. While Viking armor was not as elaborate as that of some other cultures, it was still effective in protecting them from blows and projectiles. Their shields were particularly important, providing a crucial barrier against enemy attacks. Viking armor typically consisted of leather or chainmail. Leather armor was more common as it was more affordable and easier to produce. Chainmail was more effective but also more expensive and time-consuming to make. Both types of armor provided a degree of protection against blows from swords, axes, and spears. However, they were not impenetrable, and a well-aimed blow could still inflict serious injury. The primary purpose of Viking armor was to protect warriors from blows and projectiles. It was designed to absorb the impact of attacks and prevent them from penetrating the body. While armor could not guarantee survival, it significantly increased a warrior's chances of surviving a battle. It was an essential piece of equipment for any Viking warrior. Viking shields were typically round and made of wood, reinforced with iron. They were a crucial part of their defensive strategy, providing a barrier against enemy attacks. The shields were often painted with intricate designs and symbols, which may have had religious or magical significance. They were not just defensive tools, they were also symbols of identity and belonging. The primary function of the Viking shield was to provide protection in close combat. Warriors could use their shields to deflect blows, parry attacks, and create openings for their own strikes. The shield was an essential tool for both offense and defense. It allowed warriors to protect themselves while simultaneously attacking their enemies.